Hello everyone, welcome to GED exam preparation class. I am your host and instructor, Ruben Herrera. And on this video, we are going to learn, or we actually going to have an introduction to fractions. We're going to learn about fractions from the very beginning and from the very basics. Okay, so let us start first by defining what is a fraction. Okay, um, a fraction is a numerical quantity that is not a whole number. Okay, so it's part of a number, it is part of a value, but it's not the entire value. That's what a fraction is. A fraction is also a small part, an amount, or a portion of something, but not the complete something. It's just part of something that is whole, but yet it is not the whole thing or the whole amount. Okay, for example, my friends, I have right here two fractions. For example, I have 1 over 2. That means one part of two parts. And I have a more graphical expression right here. Look, it's one part of two parts. Okay, one of two right here. Okay, next I have this other fraction right here. It is 1/3 or 1 of 3. So I have 1 of 1, 2, and 3. 1 of 3. Okay, and this is how fractions are explained or how fractions are understood. Okay, now my friends, most of the time a fraction the number on the top is going to be smaller than the number on the bottom. And this is known as a proper fraction. And this is what's going to happen most of the times. And in most cases, our fractions are going to be proper fractions. What is a proper fraction? Well, a proper fraction is when the number on the top is smaller than the number on the bottom. Okay? Now, regardless of whatever the number is, and regardless whether it's a proper fraction or improper fraction, and the number on the top is called the numerator, okay? And the number on the bottom is called the denominator. Okay, this is regardless of the values of whatever numbers you have. The number on the top is always called the numerator, and the number on the bottom is called the denominator. And most of the times when we deal with fractions, we're going to have proper fractions. Okay, now in the other hand, we also have improper fractions. So what is an improper fraction? An improper fraction is when the number on the top is bigger than the number on the bottom. Okay, so in this case, notice right here the number 2 is bigger than the 1, and the 2 is on the top and the 1 is on the bottom. So this, my friends, this is a improper fraction. Yet it's still the number on the top is always going to be called the numerator, and the number on the bottom is going to be called the denominator. Okay, very nice. Now, we also gonna have, and we're gonna talk about this later in the course, in another lesson, we are gonna learn about mixed fractions or mixed numbers. What is a mixed fraction or a mixed number? A mixed fraction or a mixed number is when you have a whole number, a regular number, accompanied by a fraction. So notice that, like right here, I have this number 2 right here, this big 2 right here. This is a whole number. And then I have a fraction right here next to it. This is the numerator and the denominator. This is what we call a mixed fraction or a mixed number. Okay, very nice. Now, next, there is a skill that we must learn when it comes to fractions, and that is to increase or reduce fractions. We're going to have to do this a lot for our GED exam. Okay, so let us learn about increasing and reducing fractions. Okay, so whenever we increase a fraction, we increase a fraction by using any number, taking any number, and multiplying that same number by the numerator and then the denominator. Okay, so for example, I have this fraction right here, 1 over 2. or 1 of 2. I'm going to take any number. We can take any number, but I'm going to use a small number so that this can be easier to understand. So I'm going to take the number 2, and I'm going to multiply the number 2. Notice that I have my x right here for identifying purposes. I'm going to multiply this number 2 times the 1, and then I'm going to multiply the number 2 times the 2. 2 times 1 is equals to 2, and 2 times 2 is equals to 4. And this, my friends, will be equals to 2 over 4. Okay, so I'm just increased this fraction right here by multiplying the 2 by both the numerator and the denominator, and I increase it to 2 over 4. And I can also keep on increasing this fraction. For example, I can take another number, or I can take the same number, for example, the 2, and multiply the 2 times the 2. 2 times 2 is 4, and then 2 times 4 is 8, and this, my friends, will be equals to 4 over 8. Okay, now yet if you notice, my friends, I increased this fraction to this fraction right here, and this fraction to this fraction right here. And although all this fraction is being increased already twice, notice that all these fractions are the same or have the same portions. Look, 1 of 2, 2 over 4, and 4 over 8. If this was a cake, for example, a cake from Walmart, because that's all I can afford to shop. If you notice right here, uh, the portions are the same. Yet, although I just increased these fractions have the same portions or the same value, and therefore they're all increased, but they are equivalent fractions. Okay, even though they have different numbers, just because they've been increased, that doesn't mean that the value is higher. Notice that the portion or the value is the same based on this graphical interpretation right here. Now, let us learn very quick how to do the opposite now. Let us learn now how to reduce fraction or decrease fractions. Okay, so we reduce a fraction by using a number and dividing it, dividing that number by the numerator and then the denominator. However, there is a twist on this. Whenever we cannot just pick any number now, we need to pick a number that we have to make sure that is going to be divisible by both the numerator and the denominator. Okay, so I cannot just pick any number. I need to be able to divide this number by both the numerator and the denominator and not have any decimals numbers as a result. It have to be a perfect division or a result with a whole number. Okay, now as we multiply to increase numbers, we divide to reduce fractions or numbers. Okay, for example, let us take the 4 over 8, and I'm going to take a number that will be divisible by both the 4 and the 8. I'm going to take, for example, the 2, and I'm going to divide the 4 by the 2, and notice that 4 divided by 2 is equals to 2, and 8 divided by 2 is equals to 4, and that will be equals of 2 over 4. So now we just got through reducing this fraction by dividing this number, this fraction, these two numbers by 2. And I mean, I didn't have to take the 2. I can took a bigger number. For example, I could took the 4 and divide the 4 by 4 and then the 8 by the 4 and come out with, with 1 over 2 as a result. But to play safe right now while we're learning this, I like to use the number 2 and just play it safe, and then just half my fraction, half them and half them until I cannot reduce them or half them anymore. Okay, so yet I can reduce these fractions some more still. Look, 2 over 4. I can take, for example, I can take the 2 and reduce it by 2. The 2 divided by 2 is equals to 1, and the 4 divided by 2 is equals to 2, and I will have as a result 1 over 2. So notice that we just reduced this fraction from this to this, and then I reduced this fraction again to this fraction right here by just dividing it by 2. And notice with this graphical interpretation, we still have the same portion, the same proportion of cake in this case, okay? Or this is what I call it on the last slide. So therefore, even though this fraction is being reduced, these fractions have the same value or the same portion, okay? And therefore, although all these fractions are being reduced, they're also equivalent, okay? Very nice, my friends. Um, Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoy it, and I will see you guys in our next lesson, and have a great day. Bye bye.